Talon starting off on the white side. We've got XL2 on the green. And like you said before, I think it is going to be the Doomfist Reaper. It wouldn't be too much of a surprise to see that, especially on mecha base. Doesn't really aid itself to many more things, really. I mean, in EU, we've seen things like an Ashe, but it doesn't normally work out too well when you really want the brute force of the Doomfist, and of course the Reaper just kind of pressing WE, trying to find those insta-kills on a lot of the walls, and especially on the walls on the point as well. That can come up and surprise a couple of people every now and then.
Yeah, you can get a little bit of a RNG wall behind you, which may make you feel a little bit salty if Doomfist manages to punch you into that when you thought you might have been a little bit more safe. I wonder if both our teams will be rolling out to a high ground here. It's likely, as of course you want a high ground advantage to be able to poke down onto a point, and it also allows you to get a much better seismic slam as a Doomfist onto the team that decides to make them move first.
Oh, Padapan was almost instantly checked there. Did go for the uppercut, obviously, to try and get away, and tried to get the seismic slam down, but pulled straight back in with the Holt. Perfect check from XL2.
Oh,
Speedy's going to dive in once more, and that's another couple of kills for them, and they should be able to rotate to the point rather swiftly now, after they gain a little bit more ult charge for themselves.
Speedly there perfectly knew how he would land compared to the decline that those stairs offered, which made many actually could sail past so many members of Talon to be able to hit 3 people with the seismic slam. You can get aggressive like that, because when you hit one, you get the additional shields.
Padapan going aggressive once again, Speedly doing the same thing. Granted himself an ult for this fight as well. Everybody's falling so low on Talon, plus that Coalescence can't really bend the corners like you can in Wanted, Harry. And unfortunately, Speedy just going to jump to the back line and just detonate the rest of your roster. A little bit of a smile.
He's happy with himself.
He knows what he's just done. That was the worst position Mangajai could be, and he used the Coalescence, but half his team were already around the corner, Harry.
And Haku was also countering that one out, so there was a lot of pressure coming through. And now XL2, they can control all of these points of ingress. You always know that Speedler's going to be able to make the engagement happen. Padapan trying to catch him, not successful this time.
And he's going to rotate up into this high ground. Flux is going to come through though, beat to match. Buds ends up going down, as they're still trying to control this high ground, as Padapan just disrupts the back line as much as he can, as he takes out Gig as well. XL2 should be able to stall for a little bit of extra time here, perhaps upwards towards the 60% if they can keep this fight going. Padapan actually investing the ult here as well. Does manage to gain up Haku in the end. But XL2 giving themselves a couple of extra percent as he waves goodbye to Speedly as he does fall off the map.
There, well, we'll see you next time when we come in on the defense. Talon, they gave away 56% to XL2, but Jaws, we talk about how important it is to get that first cap on this control, and this is one of the earlier flips we've seen on one of these points, only 56%, rather than the 99 that it usually is. So now XL2, they are going to not be in that position where they can just go for that single fight towards the end. They're going to be able to have to use things after they win too.
Oh, KSP! Just dropping down on fools. XL2. Espresso Q at the same time almost. I say that. It was only 2 ults. Haku used that Coalescence as well. Talon Esports did not expect that one coming. And Muse actually used that so I was going to call it
Supercharger.
Supercharger.
Super sound.
Close enough. He used that at the bottom there, and KSP instantly destroyed it with his ult.
Yeah, and speaking of Sandbarrows, OG needs to save his team from Gagora with this Gravitic Flux. He needs to be able to give everyone that additional health as everyone moves in. It's going to be very hard to channel that Gravitic Flux through this doorway, but you've got to move around to get a proper line of sight. And they're making a rotation, Jaws. They could be caught out here if they're not fast enough, but good body block.
Speedly popping the ult. He comes straight back down to the earth, straight on top of Bashful's head. Muse is going to get caught out as well in the front line. Gig, we saw him earlier on in the day. What does he like to do? Run past the shield, put another one down, and kill off your Orisa, and that's exactly what he just did. Mangajai at least finds another kill here, but XL2, the 98% is Talon Esports. They have to touch. They have to find something here to keep themselves in the map.
They got no tools to do it either, Jaws. Look at those ult percents. They're desperately low.
And that's it. It's all over. XL2 going to claim the first map. Not too bad of a start, though, for Talon. And a couple of here and there kills from Padapan, you know. However, Speedly, for this time, has got the better of him. And I got to say, Gig not only a very aggressive Orisa, but almost perfectly timing, reading Padapan like a book, using those holts to make sure you can disrupt the Doomfist movement, because as soon as you do that, he's so vulnerable.
The thing that really turned that around, Jaws, was that Death Blossom from KSP, which instantly flipped the point back when it seemed like Talon would be able to take advantage of being able to play in that defensive area. And KSP, he changes up his playstyle a lot, because when we were talking to him, it's like, you can't just be a Reaper who only flanks in this particular meta, because you become incredibly predictable. So sometimes you go for the overly bronze play where you just W and then instantly start spinning the second that they're in range, and it catches people off guard because they expect something a little bit more advanced, a little bit more telegraphed to drop from above. But when you're just all Wing and then you suddenly have that Beyblade spinning in the middle, no one expects that, and it's far harder to mitigate, especially if they are disengaging backwards off of that sheer drop instead of trying to shield it. That means that there's far fewer things that can interrupt the damage being pushed out if you can get Reaper over that side. And when you're speed boosting, you can do exactly that.
Not only that, so that Supercharger got instantly taken out. That was their tool to try and deal with either KSP or, of course, the rest of the team as well. Didn't quite end up working out that way. I'd like to see how much damage that actually did boost in the end. I can imagine
probably
it was
about 12.
Yeah, probably less than 50, I'd say. We'd have a brief pause, by the way, guys. Shouldn't be too much of a problem, though. We should be able to get back into the map rather shortly. 1-0, though, for XL2. Good start. And like we said before, it is the KSP show. It has been all day, and it has actually been all season as well over in North America. Just such a standout player. We mentioned when we were casting him a little bit earlier how he was rather a bench player for Samsung Morningstars back in EU, coming out when you needed a Widowmaker. I'm glad he's getting his time to shine. Of course, on the UK roster as well as the hit scan.
Yeah, he will be attending BlizzCon to, of course, show everyone just how much the UK can bring it home this particular year. We're only running with 2 DPS this time. We're running 3 supports for reasons. You can find those out elsewhere. But one of the things that really strikes me, Jaws, is how smiley XL2 seem in the booth at this moment, because they've just come off a loss. And a lot of questions surround younger teams like XL2 when it comes to the mentality. Are these players who you pick up from ladder going to be as mentally capable of keeping themselves in a good space when they've had that sort of loss beforehand, when they've just been shaken a little bit by that match against Element Mystic? But it seems like they're all in high spirits. They're feeling super good about being here. Why wouldn't you be? You're in Korea, in one of the most historic places ever to grace Overwatch esports. You're walking in the footsteps of previous gods, people who went on to Overwatch League, people who won Apex. Names that will be forever remembered in the annals of history.
Stories have been written and legends have been made right here, and that's exactly what they want to try and do. And Talon, they want to make sure they can bring it home for this Pacific region. There's so much pride behind the players. You just know that just by speaking to them as well. And like we mentioned before, speaking all of those different languages plus comming in English, it can get quite hectic, and that was something we were rather worried about. We were like, wow, okay, so obviously you got a lot of languages on there. How does that actually work in game? And they were like, oh, we just comment English. It's like, oh, cool. Okay, well, that's great. But is the coordination really going to be there in those high pressure, very tense situations where you need fraction second decision making in order to save a teammate or get a kill? And it seems like a non-factor at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, they're often also going up against these more meta compositions where they have a set game plan that their coaching staff has laid out for them, and they're evidently following that super well. Because it's not only Talon Esports, but it's the coaching staff behind them, which are going to be very much taken notice of after these games.
Speedy going to go for a rather aggressive punch. Playing around this drum here is going to be fairly important for Speedy, at least. He can punch people onto those pillars. He did attempt to do there, but a nice little fortify as he slowly descends to the earth. I think he got booped there just a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, potentially halted. Padapan is going to find the kill onto KSP, though. Man advantage now for Talon. They should be able to clean this up rather easily. Mango Jai does have 70% on this Coalescence, but you can see how much damage XL2 have actually taken here as Haku gets his online just before he dies.
He has. Haku will be able to now use that in the next fight to pierce through barriers, Jaws. That's so important in this particular meta, especially when you are following up on a Doomfist, making an incredibly aggressive dive. You can take a lot of health off a tank like a Sigma, like an Orisa, or something like potentially a Reaper. You need to follow up, but people are behind shields, so you cannot follow that up with conventional means.
Muse jumping in front of the shield once again. Wants to make sure Gig knows his place. Meteor Strike coming out, but Speedy is already dead here. So again, Talon should be able to win this rather handily. Muse isn't going to need to use his ult, neither is Bashful. Combine that for next fight. These fights, though, to be fair, Harry, are rather quick, considering, obviously, the meta and the comps they're currently running. Only 37% building up here for Talon, but XL2 have got ults in the bank in the next couple of seconds.
And the reason that these Orisas do this, where they walk through the shield, Jaws, is because it forces the other Orisa to back off or move forward to be able to dance around the shield, but that means that you cannot receive healing from the supports who are far back away. It forces everyone to move forward or the Orisa to move back, and when you move forward, you're going into the range of that Doomfist.
There it is, Supercharger coming out from Muse. Big boulder in the back as well. XL2 taking too much damage. KSP has to retreat as well, as a lot of people lifted up, but the beat's going to be there to save them, as Muse also gets lifted up into the air and instantly killed. Speedly going aggressive, killing the Bongo with his ult. He's going to be able to get out alive as well, but Padapan comes back with a little bit of revenge, killing off KSP. They're still just trying to stall out the point here as Bashful comes up big. Speedly's going to go down. No ults really available for XL2 now. They can use that Coalescence to try and salvage this fight, but Padasan says not today as OG ends up falling.
And they're moving up towards final fight now. Jaws 85% on the board for Talon Esports, and Padapan is ready when they next come in to make a deep dive. He has that get out of jail free card, that free escape you have available when the Meteor Strike is up. KSP's almost got that Death Blossom. Who's going to be able to answer it? It may have to be Padapan again, getting that stun, and he's already fallen low.
Padapan up in the air. Bashful has already secured himself a kill as well. Oh, what a stun in midair! Speedly, with the help of that Sigma accretion, manages to take out Padapan, but is it actually going to be enough? KSP's going to go down yet again. KSP's not had an inch in this fight, it feels like. They're targeting him out so well, and a perfect hold once more onto the Doom. Speedly this time gets dragged back, finished off by Bashful, and Talon Esports are going to take this one 100-0.
Both of these teams are having to invest so much, Jaws, in trying to contain these star Doomfist players in Speedly and Padapan. Unfortunately, we saw some long-range damage onto Patty, forcing him to use that Meteor Strike early. He didn't even get to make his incredibly aggressive dive beforehand, didn't get to use that as a get-out-of-jail free card as much as I need to save my own life before this fight even starts card, because we can't take this on demand. And then we saw an excellent usage of the accretion. Bud's managing to take him out, but just as quickly, Speedly caught with the hole, making sure he could not escape after that Seismic Slam was used, because the Seismic Slam is one of your primary mobility tools as a Doomfist, and usually that is how you're going to exit a fight, unless you're going to use your Rocket Punch afterwards, but you usually engage with your Rocket Punch because of the one-shot potential it has.
The delicate balance of a Doomfist and rotating the cooldowns in and out of engagement. They're going to jump onto downtown. We'll play this rather slow for the time being. We're going to see how the Aristas place their shields here. Padapan is up on the high ground already. So much damage Gig is taking currently, but Speedly at least manages to find the kill onto Bashful to start it off. Padapan's going to have to come up with something big here, considering the lack of shield damage they now have, but it's too little too late as Muse ends up going down. And the rest of XL2 cleaning on up. They do rotate to the points. Secure it.
Seemed like KSP managed to get away with a very aggressive use of the Wraith Walk. He actually played around that bus stop or whatever it is in the middle very, very effectively, making sure Padapan could not get onto him to deliver that one shot when he didn't have the ability to get himself out of the way rather quickly. Haku, in the next fight, it's all about him using this Coalescence early, getting that pressure onto Muse, and hoping to potentially put Talon Esports on the back foot.
A beautiful hold there, but Padapan couldn't actually follow up with anything, and yeah, already Muse is going to go down. Speedy's just going to dive on in, you might as well. You got ult, but hey, more damage stats, more gold medals. Thank you very much. XL2 kind of dominating right now. Talon Esports don't really have an ear in this fight whatsoever. Let's keep track of the ults though, because Mangajai does have that Coalescence, but he's running into so much versus XL2. They've got both their tank ults coming online so soon, plus OG's going to have that beat.
Speedly's up on the high ground right here. He may try to drop down behind him and actually get a punch onto Mangajai and try and cancel the incoming Coalescence. He managed to submit it. He instantly has to pop his Meteor Strike.
And he does. Coalescence is going to come out. Speedy's going to have to get out there very fast. He's got overshield, but he won't survive long in amongst all of that damage. Muse ends up going down first though, as KSP just holding this corner so well. And now he can just walk through the shields without little of a problem. They do end up committing beat though here, Harry. Really think they can win this fight, but still KSP can just sit here. No one's doing anything to him, plus he's got the ult available to him.
I don't think they needed to counter that beat from OG either.
Yeah, but they're going to unleash the Blossoms. KSP comes up big with a two-piece. That beat, I just... Words are escaping me right now. I'm not entirely sure they really thought they could win that fight, but now, on the defense, especially if you're Bud, you're going to be able to build up this ult so quickly. This feels like it's over already, Harry.
Yeah, you're really going to do that without your main tank? We're getting so close to that 100% Jaws. It could be a load of 100-0s here, despite it being a 2-1. Talon are understaffed and under-resourced for this next fight. They've got the Coalescence and Speedily can't interrupt it just yet.
Buzz is going so low. Keep him alive. You might just
touch
win
the point.
This fight. Someone has to touch too. You are right. They do manage to get it. Padapan was there, but Speedy already takes out Muse. That's the third time in a row he's been taken out so far, and now they have no shields to dance around. They're going to have to rely on the Sigma to get to the point in order to stall out for some additional time, but it's not going to be enough. Buds gives them the toes, and that should be it. XL2 are going to claim the map and go 1-0 up in the series.
Excellent play from them. You can see the individual and and how they play around win conditions. They're always so aggressive to make sure that nothing is given for free, and when you are playing that aggressive towards that final fight, that means Paddy has to not be a real force in that fight for such a long time, Jaws. And as a Doomfist, you can't really be a force in a fight from far away. You've only got your hand cannon, that's got very limited ammo and damage drop off. If you are the one who has to touch the point to make sure the round doesn't end, that's a 5v6 for the rest of your team, and that means that not only is it a 5v6, but also the 6 don't have to worry about one-shots, and that's one of the most worrying things in this entire meta. If you aren't worrying about that Doomfist, you can position so much more aggressively.
Gotta watch out for the holds, the rocks, anything that can cause a one-shot or just help the Doomfist find a punch onto a wall, or even onto a Reaper, or the Reaper just walking forwards and clicking the Orisa's heads. 1-0 up in the Series R, XL2. We're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Do not go anywhere. Hey guys, welcome back. XL2 versus Talon Esports. Talon do end up losing the map there, but it was rather close. And I gotta say, it has been the KSP show once again, coming up so big as Death Blossoms have just been incredible.
Yeah, let's talk some stats about that, Jaws. When we look at the comparison between Bashful and KSP, 0.67. That's the Death Blossom efficiency, the kills per Death Blossom for Bashful. Meanwhile, KSP, he's setting up a 2.33. That is so many times better. It feels like KSP, the way he's setting up these ultimates, so hard for Talon Esports to really deal with. The other standout stat to me is definitely how much more damage Haku is doing compared to Mango Jai. He's doing about 3k more damage per 10 minutes. We see Mango Jai sitting about 6k, Haku about 9k. He's getting a lot of freedom because of how much attention is being demanded by Speedly and KSP to be able to get some of those right clicks in, throw out a couple of those damage orbs and keep generating that additional damage to get those picks and drive forward those fight wins.
Those damage orbs sometimes are enough to actually force cooldowns out. The best way to deal with the Doom Fist is, of course, poke him out before he comes in. If he's injured, then he's less likely to want to engage. Yes, he gets shielding if he connects abilities, and if he connects his ult as well, it gets a bit extra. But the issue is, if he's down 50 to 100 HP, he's going to be rather reluctant and is going to have to require heals before he actually ends up engaging on a target, and especially going full force as well, using all cooldowns. We don't see that too often, of course, but those damage orbs, they do rack up, and like you said, Haku doing so much more. King's Row is going to be our next map. Hybrid is the game type, of course. Fan favorite, and just an Overwatch favorite, to be honest, Harry.
Yeah, choice of Talon here being the losers of the previous map. And we've got some things in store for us here. Question is, will we see that Padapan on the offensive Widowmaker again? Just get a quick pick. Hopefully, Haku will not make the same mistakes.
Yes, hopefully not. Let's get into game, though. King's Row, XL2 map up currently, facing off against Talon. I just want to cheer as much as possible, Harry. Okay?
Well, Talon Esports definitely have generated a lot more than just Korean fans in the audience right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Like at the start of the day, we didn't really have that much of a fighting for Talon.
Now they do. Now they're showing what they're truly made of. Still, honestly, hard to believe that they went so close against Element Mystic. And you know what they did say to us yesterday? Well, you should remember, but the audience don't remember, of course, because they weren't there. They said, EM, that should be pretty easy. And to be fair, it almost looked like it was. 3-2 was the scoreline. They are down a map now against XL, and Busan was the map they did initially win up against Elo and Mystic. KSP going for another peek. Everybody's wizened up a little bit. Still managed to land a headshot, though. Little ult charge, but of course he will check.
That's more ult charge for Mango Jai, though. 50% there, just healing up Gora. Maybe you don't want to take that shot unless you're going to be able to rush down that particular tank. Padapan makes a very swift engagement there, but it's punished. Now he's got to deal with his flanking Reaper. KSP trying his luck.
Yeah, it was almost immortal at that point. Mashal finds the first kill. Gora is going to go down fairly quickly, though. Speedly makes a very aggressive engage. He's almost got his ultimate already. KSP is going to be able to sit on the point at this point, but you've got to clear Bashal off first before you do anything. Haku finds the kill onto Padapan as well, treating fairly evenly, but defenders, they've got not the longest walk back to the point. It's very, very contestable right now for Talon.
But now they are moving into Speedly and his area of effectiveness. That means that he is going to be able to get those first punches and try and punish people as they move through this archway. It's going to be very easy to get those one-hit kills.
Aliko lessons, both get lessons coming out, as well as the Meteor Strike. Still trying to move past those shields. The diagram of shields kind of inhibits Speedly just for a little bit, but managed to land the uppercut no less onto Muse. They do trade 1-for-1 as Padapan goes in, and Bashful turns at the right time, killing off Speedly with the help of the Doom. And Talon Esports, they let go of 2 ticks, but they still managed to hold on to first for the time being.
And that was great target focus there, Jules, from Padapan and Bashful. They knew that already Speedly had used that meteor strike. He didn't have any way to escape, and if Padapan went for that duel, you knew that cooldowns were going to be expended to try and win it. That means Bashful can get whatever he wants of those shotguns onto a large hitbox. Now there it is, the surprise. Well, speaking of surprises.
Surprise Doomfist! Straight into the wall with you, Bashful. We're going to make sure we keep that Death Blossom efficiency low. Another Death Blossom. KSP's not really finding too much, but the pressure exerted from that's pretty immense. They're going to be able to find the kill onto Muse. Basically destroyed the shield as soon as he put it down as well. Mango Jai's going to fall also, and XL2 will claim the last 33% and get the payload moving.
The unfortunate thing here for Talon Esports is they're all going to get the back spawn, with the exception, I believe, of Bashful and Kagura, but the 2 of them won't be able to fight this. That means if XL2 claim this space, as you see now, they will be able to move through the archway for free, which is one of the most defensible areas of Point B. If you give up that archway, Jaws, this Point B of King's Row is basically non-existent. It's so good for an attacking Doomfist. He can play these angles so well.
Kagura's going to have to move himself onto the high ground there. Secretion comes out, does miss, but CQB does end up going down. And now with a man advantage, XL2, they're scurrying back to the cart here. They want to make sure they can get through as quickly as possible. Lucio will be able to get back ASAP. They are just pacing this fight out. Maybe a little bit too paced as Buds ends up falling. Speedly pops the ult. Has to find something big here. The fight's pretty much over for XL2. And as I say that, he ends up falling down to Padapan. The Meteor Strike landed on top of his head this time instead.
Because of an early engagement here, there may well be space for Talon, as you can see, to try and play around this archway, but often it's a lot safer to play around the bookstore where you can just disengage towards the mega health pack that you'll find in pub, and you can see that's exactly what they're going to do. Make sure they have full strength here, and so that Gig cannot come in and just place that shield behind them. They're actually going to give up a lot of space here. They want to play an even more defensible position, but they've got to be careful, because if they keep disengaging Jaws and they lose a fight here, they could only get this one defensive fight out of this area.
Sneaky Reapers. KSP gets knocked into the London Underground. Ticket prices are extortionate, so he does end up moving away. KSP unleashing the ult, they'll pass the shields, manage to kill off Bashful. However, that flux coming out as well. There's a lot of healing coming through from the Coalescence, but it's not instantaneous shields that you really need when you're getting flexed up in the air. Buds is going to fall here as Talon Esports continuing to defend. The cart has moved a little bit, but they're able to regain control. There's only one shield for them really to deal with now, and it is going to be Giggs, and they're going to be able to walk past that rather easily.
And they are just going to be clean up now. Let's look at these forthcoming fight Jaws, because right now, pending a diagram of what you can expect for the next few minutes, 2:30 is what's in XL2's time bank, by the way. OG has that sound barrier now. He isn't worrying about Kagura and that gravitic flux. So what's he going to use to answer this? Potentially he could use it to get aggressive when Muse plants down that supercharger. When you place down that ultimate, you create a static line of defense where you want to be, and you can move into that. You could force CQB to answer in return, and it means that Buds could not have his own gravitic flux answered if you can force it out of CQB. Maybe that's the play to make here.
Looks like we're trying to base something there. They tried to split up just a little bit. Speedy just diving straight in the back line. He's met with a Coalescence to try and force him to do something or move out of their own back line, as well as that beat coming through as well. Heavy investment here for Talon. They have got a flux coming up rather soon, but they're going to need to get that up ASAP, because Speedly is dealing with your back line. Instantly, Kagura goes down. A very expensive fight for both teams. Talon even investing more here with that Meteor Strike as well. Padapan doesn't find anything, but still creates space. The 1v1 versus him and Speedly as he gets the Mega health back. Oh, Padapan's in trouble. Speedly baits him in, takes the Mega, and punches him straight into a wall. XL2 still fighting as this payload moves towards second.
And 4 members of Talon Esports have come back, Jaws. 5 if you include this Wrecking Ball is here and ready to engage. Does not have any of the shields, but he does have the power.
Flux is going to come through. Can KSP find an entrance into this fight? He does have his ult available, but is he going to be able to get it off? That is the question. The shift forward, the instant use of the ult, a punch up to send him sky high as Bashful ends up going down. The damage was enough to sail the payload to second point. Can they actually get the touch, though? That is the question. Even the mines, in fact, coming out for Muse, in fact, forces a beat.
The sound barrier
for XL2. OG maybe using that one a bit haphazardly there. I don't know about that one to try and stop the damage from mines, but everybody was already dead.
Yeah, I guess so. Muse actually now going to go back over onto the Orisa quite predictably, and well, OG's just going to have to stick around with on this card draw. Speedly's going to be the one to make the play here. Does have ready to go that Meteor Strike, which means he can make this deep engagement. This means that if Mango Jai opens up with an early Coalescence, he can go for the cancel.
There goes Seismic Slam on the back. Coalescence coming through once again, kind of reacting, it feels like, to Speedy going in. Meteor Strike's been used as well. Doesn't find anybody, but gets out of the fight rather easily. Padapan once again showing up big, killing off KSP. That should be the end of the fight. Another nice connection there onto Bud's Temple. He does manage to get the kill on that one too. Talon are going to hold for the time being, and XL2's time bank dripping away here. 1 minute and 30 seconds does remain.
XL2 fans definitely not a fan of this timeline either. They invested 3 ultimates in this fight, Jaws, and didn't really get anything in the way except from a little bit of payload push. Padapan ready for an early engagement.
Look at that
beautiful.
Engagement, that hold straight into the seismic slam, into the uppercut. He's got shields for days and ult charge to boot. XL2 going to have to go once again as Feely does end up falling down.
And that was so good. He actually used the seismic slam behind Gigs. He wants to be able to follow up with a punch to punch him through the shield and into where Muse was able to get either more halting onto him or isolate him from his healers with his own shield. And now they're just going to play around this corner. This is so defensible, Jaws. They've got so many ults to play with. They open with the grab.
Oh, instantly focused out of the air. Speedy didn't just stand a chance. Gagora's going to be able to move forward now. Shields being replaced over and over again. It's going to be almost impossible for XL2 to kill anything at this point. They just need to hold S, go back to spawn. Unfortunately, sacrificing Buds' life is for the greater good at this point. They've only got one more fight to win this.
Yeah, and if they're going to win this, Jaws, it will be in overtime. That means if Talon Esports can get a completion on their attack and have over a minute, there will be that guaranteed draw for them. For now, though, let's stick to the present. Muse ready to go with the supercharger. If you move forward, they are ready for them.
Sneaky once again. Bashful in the back, getting those kills with a Death Blossom. Gig and OG go down. 5 seconds remain. There is going to be a flux coming up, but can they get the damage and the kills through? I don't think so. Padapan's finding another couple to add to his resume. XL2 halted just before 3rd point. It's a very admirable defense coming out from Talon. Bashful looking a little bit better, I'd say, with the Death Blossoms. Did manage to find one, obviously, with a couple of kills at the end there. Was being a bit more sneaky with it, though.
And the one at the end was actually super important because it was actually because Muse purposefully placed his supercharger in what many of us would call a bad position. It was right out in the open, did not have the physical cover. Yeah, it was a great bait. He just put the shield in front of it, and XL2 were like, we could destroy that if we just speed boost forward. They speed boost forward, focusing on that supercharger. They don't check their corners. Bashful comes in behind them, gets a supercharged Death Blossom, does too much damage for XL2 to continue that fight. It was the tactical mess up from Muse. Poetry in motion, really.
It's got like sparkly lights and stuff. How could you not just run towards it and kill
like
it?
moths.
Like moths to a supercharger. XL2 now on the defense, Talon on the offense. Padapan, come on, show us your Widow. Please. I want to see a headshot straight out the gate. I'm not sure XL2 will like that too much, but they should be able to hide behind shield. I did watch that clip.
Taste of KSP's medicine.
Yeah, I watched that clip a couple of times. I do believe the Moira jumped a little bit there. It's jumping, especially in Overwatch. I'm always spamming jump, and every single time, I mean like a good Ana or Zen or whatever on solo queue, right? And they're like, you should probably stop jumping, man, because it makes your head hitbox rather easy to track for a lot of good Widowmakers.
Makes your entire hitbox easy to track.
Yeah, you're falling in a very predictable arc. Gotta stop jumping, man. Get your head
they're going full salvo at the top here. They've actually got Mango Jai up here on the Zenyatta as well. Maybe they can just get so much damage done.
Dodge rock. That'll do.
But the rock was a good old zone right there, coming through from Buds.
Kind of blocked the sightlines as well, to be fair. They couldn't really see much of it all.
So. Can't see through the big old stone. And now Gig is safe to just blink away here as they can watch where Talon Esports want to make their rotation and where they want to try and make this engagement happen. KSP doesn't even fire at CQB to start off with, wants to stay hidden.
He's going to reveal himself now, however. Padapan does find the first kill onto Bud somehow. Not entirely sure how Padapan does this, dude. Another punch into the wall, and KSP bites the dust. It should be a rather quick team fight win here for Talon. Padapan's just going to clean up now. How does this lad do it? I spoke earlier on, in fact, I did tweet it out and said, when they faced up against Element Mystic, it was Prodigy versus Prodigy on the Doomfist roll, and you can see why this guy is just so hyped coming out of the Pacific region.
Yeah, exactly that. Padapan is one of those people who were like, okay, you're going to be the star of Overwatch League in about 3 years. He's got a long time but that time will also be a lot of improvement for him, and I don't really know how much better he can get, Jaws. Straight away though, XL2, very good defensive positioning. They're going to hold this choke. This is one of the most defensible areas of point B, especially when you have that Doomfist, because it means you can create these micro chokes round these sides where you can hit a good hole and get a lot of damage done.
Coalescence others are available, but Muse does have a little bit of advantage on the Supercharger. Coalescences do come out as the Reapers do end up just going loggerheads with each other, but KSP comes out on top. Same with Padapan actually going to go down. Like you said, it is one of the more defensible chokes in the game, especially with that Coalescence too, because the terrain is not so big. And then you put a giant payload in the middle of it too, yeah, it gets even smaller. The walkways don't really become, well, they get less existent, so it's kind of hard to actually navigate without getting hit by the goal.
New question now is how will Muse get value out of the Supercharge when such an aggressive team from XL2 is going to be here? They can be aggressed on from behind, but Gig's already dead, so that'll do.
Okay, that'll do, and another nice ult straight on top of CQB's head. Speedly's going to come in with about 1 billion HP on the Doomfist. That's not what you want to see in your Q games. Padapan and Speedly actually picking up each other's
It's
team.
just so messy.
They're just trading tanks, they're trading kills, but XL2 are going to be able to respawn rather slowly, which is going to be the problem. Talon obviously with the spawn advantage here, so it is going to work out in their favor.
And they actually managed to force out Kagora's use of a Gravitic Flux there, so they can consider that a bit of a win, even though they have given up this area. XL2 are going to need to try and rendezvous though. Still in the back are, I believe, Haku and potentially Speedily. KSPs are on the back as well. Right now, XL2 are so split up, they can just rush down on these tanks. Buds and Gig are going to need a lot of help.
Nice punch into the wall to stop him from moving, but he still manages to pick up the kill on the Lucio. Muse kind of encapsulating himself in an egg, using those shields, and manages to kick up a couple of kills of his own. Make that 4, in fact. You don't see that every day.
5.
All right, 5. You don't see that every day. 5 Orisa kills in the kill feed when you got Doom and Reaper on your team. And Talon Esports now with a just massive time bank. They should be able to cap second here for basically for free.
XL2 were just so sporadic there, Jaws. There was no way that they'd be able to take a full 6-on-6 fight, and Talon just took advantage of the tanks they saw alone. Like, okay, cool. 6v2, we'll take that one for free. And now they are so close to being able to just win out this entire map in this case. Bring themselves up to 1-1 going into the half.
Very early beat here coming through. They have to win this fight before Buds gets his ult. They're going to try and isolate him and single him out. However, doesn't quite come to fruition just yet. Padapan with the Meteor Strike goes up in the air, trying looking for this big hole. There it is.
That's
Boom!
big.
Straight into the ground. KSP bites the dust, and now Talon could just move on forward. They only have to really deal with Buds. He's no way near his ultimate. In fact, Bashful with a disrespect ult is going to move on forward. 4 minutes in the time back for Talon, and XL now have to defend for a couple of meters.
Mangojo still has the victory coalescence. He can make sure anyone coming in is going to have to go through a beam of pain to get there.
Padapan once again, look at this, playing the corners just so well. Punches the ball into the wall. Pile Driver's going to come down, but this is going to have to be Buds clutching up big. He has to get the damage in, but look at this, Kagura protecting his entire team with that grass, making sure no extra damage can come down. Speedly is going to fall, and it should be the slow eking of health bars now on the side of XL2. They have got a Bastion on the field, and KSP is kind of trying to laser people down, but a shield in his face should be enough for Talon Esports to deal with him. They complete just before the 3rd point on King's Row and tie the series up 1 apiece.
And XL2's defense was just scattered after that overly aggressive hold, Jaws. They tried to make it work so they could just play so aggressively, make sure there was no space available. And it was just so unfortunate that they didn't really take that fight as a fight. They sort of like took it as a series of skirmishes. And some of the skirmishes they won, to their credit, some of them they lost. But in the end, the players of Talon that remained, they were not only close to their spawn, but they could just walk over to the cart and start gaining that distance for free. And that means that you have Haku and you have Speedily in the back, so you don't have your Moira. At that point, are you relying on Lucio and Pit Up to heal up 2 main tanks who don't really have that much in the way of sustain with your Sigma and your Orisa? They're just going to get ran over by a Reaper and a Doomfist.
1 apiece in the series. Talon taking King's Row against XL2. They get time to talk to their coaches. And we get time to talk to each other as well. We're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Do not go anywhere. Map number 3 coming up soon.